What's happening? Thanks for joining me on this Thursday night, 1 hour away from the draft beginning. What will the Patriots do? Well, all day we've been hearing about the Patriots maybe sticking and picking at 3. Would it be Drake May? Would it be J.J. McCarthy? We've heard a little bit about the Patriots still keeping the phone lines open, still looking for a possible deal if a deal reveals itself. Well, we've got the very latest. And this just came out a few moments ago from NFL Network's Tom Pelissero. Here's what he tweeted. After weeks of listening to offers for the number 3 overall pick, all signs now point to the Patriots standing pat and picking. The belief within the league is that the pick will most likely be North Carolina quarterback Drake May. So according to Tom Pelissero, after listening to all the offers, from Minnesota, reportedly, from the Giants, reportedly. After listening to all of those offers, the Patriots have decided to stand pat and pick. Stick and pick. All signs point to that happening. So in about 90 minutes from now, we should know who the next franchise quarterback is for your Patriots. And when you look around the league, Pete Schrager, Adam Schefter, Field Yates, Phil Perry, Tom Curran, etc., etc., etc. Almost every single person is saying that it will be Drake May as your next quarterback of the New England Patriots. That's what pretty much everybody is saying. Now, there is a little bit of it could be J.J. McCarthy. It might be J.J. McCarthy, but pretty much everybody. Mark Daniels just posted on Twitter a GIF of Drake May. So it certainly seems like Drake May is going to be the next quarterback of the New England Patriots. How do you feel about it? Not done yet, but that's where it looks like it's going. Drake May is going to be the guy. Now, before I get to some of my thoughts, I'm going to get to some of your thoughts. Super chats already pouring in. We're going to be here for only about 30 minutes, but I'm back at 9 p.m., okay? So 9 p.m., we'll be back. We'll go as long as we go. Like, no limit. I got a TV here in the corner. Yes, I will have a beer in my hand. We will be back here at 9 p.m. when I'm done wrapping up here at about 7:30, and we will break down. If it is Drake May, I have so much information for all of you about Drake May, things we haven't even talked about yet over the past couple of months that I have kept in my back pocket. Charlie jumps in, $20 super chat. Thank you, Charlie. Always appreciate your support, man. You have consistently supported this program. One more hour. Yes, one more hour until we get the silliness of Roger Goodell and some of the prospects. They got, 13 guys there tonight? They'll do that whole thing, right? Goodell will go up there. They'll bring the line of prospects onto the stage. Goodell will say a few words. The entire place will boom. And how about Detroit, huh? I mean, Detroit showing up big time tonight for the draft. That crowd is outrageous. I was watching coverage today at 2 o'clock. No kidding you. People were showing up. I saw them standing in line with tall Bud Lights. Tall boys, Bud Lights. 2 p.m., 6 hours away from the draft. That's some hardcore tailgating by Detroit. So shout out to those people. They show up in force. They get the 29th pick tonight. I don't know if they got a cutoff point. I don't know if they're going to stop serving or not, but you get the 29th pick in the draft. You're showing up at 2 p.m. in the afternoon drinking tall boys. That's a long day. Hopefully they hydrate. Thank you, Charlie, for the super chat. Means the world to me, man. It really does. Eddie Thomas jumps in, $10 super chat to show my love for your show. I'm going to throw you the bag that they've been looking for. So thank you, Eddie, for your support of the program. Again, if you want your comment, you want your question to jump to the front of the line, you can throw a super chat my way. It helps the program, obviously. Helps me financially, obviously. Fergie99 talking about an Aiyuk trade would be great. Starting the Drake May era. We'll get to Brennan Aiyuk in just a couple of minutes. We'll give you the latest. But again, Tom Pelissero, right before we got on the air tonight, he tweeted out that after weeks of listening to offers for the number 3 overall pick, all signs now point to the Patriots standing pat and picking. He says most likely that will be Drake May. That right now. That's where we're at right now. Ken Weber jumps in, $20 super chat. Thank you for the support again, Ken. You are the man. You have consistently supported the show financially. You've invested your time. I thank you. Got my wings, fries, iced tea, and I am ready to go. Hashtag bring us Drake. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm going to down one more water. Then I'm going to start the cold beverages. Just had some dinner, filled up the belly. I'm ready to roll, baby. I am ready to roll for this draft. We've been talking about it for what, 3.5 months? Done talking about it. Time to be about it. So thanks to Charlie, Eddie, Fergie, and Ken for your super chats. They are much appreciated. I have said from the beginning, I'm a stick and pick guy. That's my number one option. If this front office tells us that they don't love one of the quarterbacks that are there at 3, then that's when I get to the idea of, all right, the full Monty we've talked about where you move down, then you move back up, right? But that's only if the Patriots decide they don't love a guy. And I've said that from the beginning. If they don't love somebody, I don't want them to reach for a quarterback. Don't draft a guy just to draft a guy. Don't do that. It's a big mistake. So if they love one of these guys, draft him at 3. If he's there, draft him. That's always been the number one option. We've thrown out other hypothetical deals, possible offers. Would you do this? Would you do that? By the way, Tom Curran on NBC Sports tonight, he said that the Patriots, the bag, we were all wondering what the bag is, 3 first-round picks and a player. That's what Elliott Wolf was looking for. 3 first-round picks and a player. Now, Curran did not mention whether or not that the number 11 pick was included in those 3 first-round picks because I've talked about this. Don't give me 11, okay? Don't give me 11. 11's a pick swap. Going 3 to 11, you're not getting a first-round pick out of that. You're giving up the better first-round pick for 11. So are we talking about 3 first-round picks outside of number 11, or are we talking 3 first-round picks including 11? That's a major detail. And so I'm not sure if they included 11 or not, but 3 first-round picks and a player. Mark Daniels certainly seems very confident that this is going to happen. He just quote tweeted a post that he had back on February 29th that according to multiple sources, the Patriots have a plan in place to reshape their quarterback position. The plan is to sign a veteran, draft a quarterback at number 3, and potentially sit the rookie if need be. Mac Jones is also on his way out. That was Mark Daniels back on February 29th. So one thing we're not going to do, we're not going to sit here and say that the Patriots just threw this together, right? That they didn't really know what to do. It's clear they've had a plan. It's clear. The plan was Jacoby Brissett for $8 to $10 million for a year, trade Mac Jones, and then draft somebody. And you know what the telling information is? The telling information from Daniels back on February 29th, when he wrote in that tweet that the Patriots were going to draft a quarterback at 3 and potentially sit the rookie if need be. That is a huge piece of intel back on February 29th. Why? Because if you draft Jaden Daniels, you're not likely to sit him for a year. He's 23 years old. If you draft Daniels, you're playing Daniels. So the fact that Mark Daniels wrote back on February 29th that the Patriots would potentially sit the number 3 pick if they had to, that tells me they've been looking at McCarthy, they've been looking at Drake May for a long time. You go back to February 29th, which makes some sense, right? Makes a lot of sense. So here is Mike Reese. Just tweeted out. He is at the Patriots draft party. Here's what Gerard Mayo just said. Quote, I hope you are excited as I am to start putting the team together and getting out there on the field. We're going to get a great player at 3. It's going to be early, and we can always sneak back into the first round. Tells people to stick around. So again, Gerard Mayo talking to Patriots fans at the draft party just said they're going to get a great player at 3. Now, again, he might be trying to sell something here, but it's almost 10 past 7. You're about 60, 70 minutes away, maybe 80 minutes away from being on the clock. And Mayo's out there telling the fans on the stage, he's telling the fans, we're going to get a great player at 3. I would say that for all intents and purposes confirms all the reports, right? if your head coach is out there and he's saying we're going to get a great player at 3, seems to me you're sticking and picking at 3, as Tom Pelissero said. The second part of that, though, is the fact that Mayo also told fans that the Patriots could always sneak back into the first round. So, I don't know if Mayo is a great poker player or not, but if we're going off of his words, he's telling us we're sticking and picking at 3. We're going to get a great player, but hang around because we can always sneak back into the first round. And we've heard that. We've heard the idea that the Patriots pick a quarterback at 3, then move up into the 20 range to get that offensive tackle or to get that wide receiver. We've been hearing that now for the last couple of weeks. So things are sharpening here. We're getting closer and closer. I'm getting more excited by the minute. JB Brown jumps in with a super chat. Thank you, JB. Happy draft night, peeps. LFG. I don't think a team will have the stones to offer the bag. I think it's Drake May or JJ. Just hope JJ isn't at 3. I'm a stick and pick guy. And when I talk about sticking and picking, JB, you know this. I've been clear on it. May or Daniels. And I have May ahead of Daniels. I said that about a month ago was the time I made the decision that I liked May a little bit more than Daniels. Not by a ton, but I like May better than Daniels. And if you're sticking and picking at 3, you pick Drake May. If Daniels is there, you draft Jaden Daniels. I do not want to see McCarthy go number 3. If it's JJ, I will be disappointed. And it's not because I don't think he could be a good player. It's just I want, as I've said, I've been very consistent on this. I want the big swing. I want the high ceiling guy at 3. Okay, haven't said this yet. Indulge me if you will. Give me that thumbs up. Every thumbs up on YouTube helps the program. We grow the audience. More likes means more eyeballs. Don't forget to like, and don't forget to subscribe. The goal is 3,500 subscriptions. We've got a long way to go. I believe we can get there. But give us that like and subscribe as well. I appreciate every single one of you. All right, let's go to Mr. Snoopy. Says 11-23, 2, I'm guessing 2 fourth round picks this year. Next year is 1, 3, and Darisaw. I'm trying to make sense of that. Okay, so 11-23, we've got that. I'm guessing 2 fourth round picks. So 11, 23, and 2 fourths, and then a 1, a 3, and Darisaw next year. Look, Mr. Snoopy, as much I want to be a stick and pick guy, if you could get 11, 23, 2 fourth round picks, Christian Darisaw, and next year's first and third, I mean, my freaking goodness. That's bananas. That's bananas. Elliot Wolf has stones just asking for that, if he was asking for that. I guess you got nothing to lose. Drew Pearson, $5 super chat. Hey, Nick, huge fan of the pod. Do you see the Pats trading for a veteran wide receiver tonight or tomorrow? Aiyuk, Higgins, A.J. Brown, thoughts? Glad you asked that question. Because the other bit of news, I shouldn't call it news because nothing's happened yet. But the other report, and by the way, Burt Breer just tweeted, as of right now, the Patriots have not relented much at 3. They'll almost certainly stay there and pick a quarterback. So now Burt Breer is tweeting that out. Pete Schrager from the NFL Network, he just tweeted, if it's quarterback 1, 2, 3, the game of chicken to watch is whether or not Minnesota is willing to part with the 11th and the 23rd pick to move up to get the 4th quarterback selected. That may be the ask to get up to 4th or 5th. Is Minnesota willing to trade 2 first-rounders for the 4th quarterback off the board? And we've heard that Minnesota did not want to trade both first-round picks this year, which I think is laughable. If you want to move up from 11 to 4 or 11 to 3, come on. What are you doing? You've got to trade 11 and 23. That's got to be the starting point. Again, it's a pick swap. From 3 to 11, it's a pick swap. So you just want to go 3 to 11, pick swap, and then what? A future first-round pick? Like that, it's just bananas to me. That's insane. Ridiculous. All right, so let's get to the other part of the reporting that really stood out to me, and it has to do with what Drew just said. He asked about trading for a veteran wide receiver. We got about 15 minutes left to this. I remind you, I'll be back at 9 o'clock tonight. As soon as the Patriots make a pick, I run in here, and I have a ton of information. Whether it's Drake May or J.J. McCarthy, I am ready. If it's Michael Penix, I am less ready. If it's Michael Penix, I might take this computer and I might throw it out the window if they drafted Penix at 3, okay? And I think many of you would want to throw your devices with me. We could all throw them together. I'd count down from 3, 2, 1, and we would chuck our devices across Massachusetts or wherever you live watching this and listening to this. Tom Curran, NBC Sports Boston. He said this tonight. The Patriots have been working on a Brandon Aiyuk trade. Now, Tom said there's nothing solid on it yet, meaning they're not close to anything. But the Patriots have been working with the 49ers. They've been calling the 49ers. They're trying to get a deal done for Brandon Aiyuk. And what Tom said was, if the 49ers get on the board at 31, and if they draft a receiver at 31, then we should, quote, all spend our time Friday wondering if the Patriots can get a deal done. The deal that Tom was talking about, or seemed to be hinting towards, was number 34 for Aiyuk. Now, here's the issue with that. Gerard Mayo just told the fans at the draft party that they could always sneak back into the first round. If you sneak back into the first round, I imagine you're using that 34th pick to move back into the first. So I don't know if that means an Aiyuk deal is dead. You know, would San Francisco entertain the idea of a future second-round pick? I don't think so. San Francisco's asking for a first-round pick. So so this is all a timing thing, right? So if the Patriots move back into the first round, then we should feel pretty confident that there's going to be no Brandon Aiyuk deal. Because if they move back into the first round, they're going to leapfrog the 49ers. And no matter who they pick, they no longer have that 34th pick to trade to San Francisco. So I don't think this is a both situation, right? It's not an and, it's an or. You're not going to be able to move the 34th pick, get into the first round, and then trade a pick for Aiyuk. At least I just don't see how that's possible. I don't think the Patriots would be willing to give up a 2025 first. So we're all going to know. Like, if the Patriots don't move back into the first round, as Gerard Mayo hinted that they could do tonight, if they don't move back into the first round and San Francisco sits and they draft a wide receiver at 31, then I think you could start at least entertaining this idea that the Patriots could trade 34 for Brandon Aiyuk. And I don't know how anybody else would feel. I would imagine the majority of you would feel good. But I can't imagine many people would be upset if you walk away from the first 2 rounds of this draft with Drake May and Brandon Aiyuk. I'd be thrilled. So that's the latest on Aiyuk. Super chat, VT, thanks for making this process fun, Nick. LFG boys, thank you, VT. I appreciate the super chat. I really, really do. $2 super chats, $10 super chats, $20 super chats. If people are willing to invest any money into the product that I provide, it makes me feel good. So I appreciate that. I don't overlook it. So thank you, VT. Means a lot to me. Alan jumps in, $10 super chat. Nix, thanks for all your great programs and analysis leading up to this draft night. I'm excited for a new beginning. We should all be excited. And I know there are going to be people that are not Drake May people. I get it if he's the pick. I understand. You might not love the idea of Drake May, but try to embrace a new beginning. I'm not in love with the idea of J.J. McCarthy if it's at 3. And I will be disappointed if it's McCarthy at 3 because I don't think he has the kind of ceiling that Drake May has. And if I'm drafting at 3 and I'm the Patriots, I'm looking for the high ceiling, big swing kind of pick, right? But it doesn't mean I'm going to throw J.J. McCarthy out and just say, oh, he sucks. There's no way he's going to be good. We don't know. That's something else I've been stressing this entire time. Nobody knows. Nobody knows which quarterbacks are going to work out of this class. You might have a feeling. You might think you know, but nobody knows. Nobody knew Patrick Mahomes was going to be Patrick Mahomes when he was drafted 10th, or Josh Allen when the Buffalo Bills moved up to draft him. People liked Lamar Jackson because he had some video game moves at Louisville, but nobody thought that Lamar Jackson would be, MVP talent, at least not as early as he was. So we don't know who's going to work out. I hope all of you embrace this idea of the new beginning. You get a quarterback, and you hope that that quarterback works out, that the development, the coaching is there for that quarterback. Thank you, Alan. Matt McGuire with a $10 super chat. You guys are incredible so far tonight. Thanks, Nick, for keeping us informed. Thank you, Matt, for investing your time and your money into the Nick Cattle Show. Thank you. Fantastic stuff from all of you tonight. Again, I'll be back at 9. I'm not leaving yet. I will be back at 9 to react to what the Patriots do. And also, apparently, if I'm going off of what Gerard Mayo said at the NFL draft party, I might be back again. A very fluid night. I'll be here at 9 o'clock to react to what happens at 3. The Patriots trade back in. You know my crazy ass is back here to talk about whoever they draft after they move back in. You know that. Nelson Lloyd, $5 super chat. If they were to trade 34 for a veteran wide receiver, who would you rather have, AJ, CD, or Brandon? I'd go AJ. Aiyuk, I love Aiyuk, but there's a question there. You could at least introduce the question about Aiyuk. Without George Kittle, without Deebo Samuel, without Christian McCaffrey, if you're the one guy, were you the one or were you helped? I saw A.J. Brown do it in Tennessee when they didn't really have anybody. The guy was a beast. And A.J. Brown was producing, with an offensive coordinator that was seen to be pretty good in Arthur Smith, but not Kyle Shanahan. The quarterback situation wasn't necessarily great. Tough question, though. I take any of them. I really like / love all three of those guys. Honestly, if you told me that it was CeeDee Lamb or Brown or Aiyuk as the next Patriot wide receiver 1, I would take I would take any of those 3. But I kind of have a man crush on A.J. Brown. So probably impacting my answer. I love that dude. Love him. Love him. All right, let's see what else we can get into here. Mike Reese, he tweeted out today at number 34, and this goes in with what Gerard Mayo said. At 34, the team has explored what it would take or look like to jump into the back half of the first round. So the Patriots, I think they're offensive tackle / wide receiver hunting. I don't know which one of the two. It seems like a lot of people believe it's going to be receiver if they move back into the first. And I saw somebody in the comment when I just randomly looked over, bring up Brian Thomas Jr. He could certainly be somebody who, could really step in. And he's not a refined route runner, but he obviously has the speed. He's that vertical guy. He's the 4th receiver on the board for many people. Interestingly enough, Phil Perry was kind of talking up Xavier Worthy on the early edition tonight and said he's been told that Worthy could end up being a first-round pick. And Phil mentioned that the Patriots, they would see Worthy as a number 1 receiver. They believe he's kind of in the Deshaun Jackson mold. Somebody does. I don't know if he said the Patriots believe that or the source he spoke to, but they compared Xavier Worthy to Deshaun Jackson. He's not a big guy, right? We all know that. He's taller. He's pretty decent height, but he's like 165 pounds at the combine. But people believe that he can beat cornerbacks off the line of scrimmage because of his feet, because of his speed. So that's another name. But if you're looking at tackle, if you're looking at receiver, you really look at which teams have relationships with Elliott Wolf, right? So Seattle, 16, John Schneider. They worked together in the past. Minnesota, you're talking to Minnesota about the 3rd pick, right? Well, if that deal doesn't happen, certainly sounds like it's not going to happen, well, then you can kind of pivot. You can pivot and see if Minnesota wants to pull off a deal for the 23rd pick, right? You can kind of redirect your conversation. Say, okay, that's not going to work. That number 3 pick that deal's not going to work. We're going to get Drake May or JJ McCarthy. Hopefully it's Drake May, but we will, we can pivot and we can get back to 23. Would you guys take 34 and something else for 23? That could be part of the conversation. Green Bay at 25. Elliott Wolf, obviously, with the history in Green Bay. That could work as a trade. I did this in my mock draft. John Dorsey, Detroit. John Dorsey worked with Elliott Wolf and Alonzo Highsmith in both Green Bay, and then he brought those guys to Cleveland when Dorsey was calling the shots. So Dorsey in Detroit makes a lot of sense. Could the Patriots jump from 34 to 29? Then you look at a team like Arizona. Arizona has multiple first-round picks. They're sitting at 27. Could the Patriots move up from 34 to 27 because Arizona is looking to add some extra, draft capital? Those are the things that you're looking for. My first mock draft, for example, and my only mock draft was 34 and 103 to Detroit for 29 and 163. That works out with the Rich Hill value chart. And I drafted Amarius Mims at 29. That's the kind of move that you could see actually happen tonight. Now, as far as A.J. Brown, to get back to him, interestingly enough, WIP in Philadelphia, the radio station this morning, reported that Philadelphia is working on an extension for Brown. They just signed Devontae Smith. So it's fascinating. They're going to pay both of those guys? That would be very fascinating to me. You're going to pay both Brown and Smith long-term. So I don't know about that report. I wonder if Philadelphia is trying to build some leverage in trade talks by leaking out there that, they're close on an extension with Brown to make a team nervous and maybe overpay. I believe I got another super chat that jumped in. I got a couple, actually. Nope, I got one. All right, let's jump in here. RD79, Nick's seeing a lot of Xavier. By the way, apparently it's Leggett. I've been saying Leggett. I heard Leggett tonight. A lot of Leggett talk. Isn't he just Thornton 2.0? No. You're thinking of Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin is Tyquan Thornton 2.0, or at least he looks like Tyquan Thornton. Very skinny. Taller guy, very skinny. Not sure about the circumference of his wrists. Remember that Thornton stuff? You got tiny wrists. I don't know if Franklin has tiny wrists or not. I don't know what kind of watch he wears. I don't know. But Troy Franklin is the Tyquan Thornton 2.0 that you're thinking of. Leggett is a guy that's, in the mold of an A.J. Brown. We mentioned A.J. Brown. If you think body, right? Artie, if you think body of A.J. Brown, that's Leggett. He's got that build. Tall, muscular, big frame. He did really well at the combine. Fast for his size. The thing with Leggett is, early in his college career, he didn't do much. Last year, he exploded. But before that, he was more show, he was more show than go. And then he turned it on this past year. He is your prototypical X-receiver. He can jump up and he can get the football. I like him a lot. I would take him over Worthy. And I like Worthy, but, $160 wide receivers, man. Yeesh. So Leggett is not the same player as Tyquan. Different dude. That would be Franklin. Finally, once this is over, we never say the bag again. All right, let's speed through a couple of super chats. Then I got to run. I got to go do a community chat on the Patreon. Patreon.com/Nick Cattles, CATTLES. $5 a month, $1.25 a week. Nick, love the show, Daniel says. Thank you, Daniel. Pats fan from New Mexico. Drake May, number 3. A.J. Brown would be amazing. What's your drink of choice, by the way? Well, that differs. I'm a big craft beer guy. I drink nothing but water and craft beer, by the way. That's all I drink, really. And I save the craft beers until the weekend. But because it's the NFL draft, I'm going to have myself a couple tonight. When I get back here at 9 o'clock, I'm going to have a cold drink in my hand, celebrating with you guys, whatever happens. That'll be happening at 9 o'clock. Tonight, I think I'm going to go with a little bit of a Mexican lager. I think it's called a Rosarito. Last week, I went to that charity, get together with Andrew Callahan and Jeff Howe and Phil Perry and Fitzy and Jerry Thornton. I was out there. Vitamin C Brewing. And I had a couple of these Mexican lagers. So what I'm going to do is something I learned in California when I was out there. It used to be a great beer called Mexicali. And put a little margarita salt around the rim, drop a lime in that puppy. And they're on the lighter side. So, I got shows to do tonight. So that lighter side. So that's what I'll be doing tonight. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate you. All right, last one, then I got to run. Don't forget to like before you go. Give us that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. We're back here at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. We're back here to react to what the Patriots do. Showing love for the show. Hope you will as well. Can't wait till we can discuss this draft class. By the way, ATH is better. Thank you after the huddle. I appreciate you for the super chat. I got to run. Speaking of chats, I got to go do a chat at the Patreon page. Back here at 9 o'clock. And hopefully we could talk about what actually happened. If it's May, if it's McCarthy, whoever, whatever they do, we're going to talk about it. We'll have all the information for you, all the opinion. You guys will jump in. We'll celebrate. You can have your beverage of choice with me. That's coming up in about 90 minutes. Until then, thank you for joining us for this preview of the NFL Draft. This has been the Nick Cattle Show.